August 4th, 1964, 9:52 p.m. You're in the Combat Information Center of the USS Maddox, staring at a green radar screen in the darkness. The Gulf of Tonkin, international waters off North Vietnam. Your sonar operator shouts, "Contact! Multiple fast-moving targets, sir. 22 torpedo boats," he says. "Closing fast." Your captain orders, "Battle stations, return fire." You squint at the radar. You see blips. Maybe. Or maybe it's just the storm. The waves are 10 feet high. Lightning flashes. Your finger hovers over the alarm. This decision, this moment, will kill 58,220 Americans. It will destroy 3 million Vietnamese lives. It will define a generation. And here's the thing you don't know yet. As you sit there in that dark room, sweating, terrified, the attack isn't real. The torpedoes don't exist. The enemy boats are ghosts. Radar shadows, weather anomalies, adrenaline and imagination. But your report will reach Washington in 90 minutes. And your president, Lyndon Baines Johnson, he already knows it's fake. He knows, and he'll use it anyway. But wait, let's rewind 2 days. August 2nd, because there was a real attack. Sort of. The USS Maddox is in the Gulf of Tonkin, officially on a routine patrol. That's the cover story. The truth, you're running DO-SOTO missions, signals intelligence. You're intercepting North Vietnamese radio communications, mapping their coastal radar, spying. You're 8 miles off the coast. International waters, technically, but barely. And here's what Washington doesn't tell you. Last night, South Vietnamese commandos, trained and equipped by the CIA, attacked 2 North Vietnamese islands, blew up radar stations, shot up coastal bases. The North Vietnamese think you were part of it. They think the Maddox supported the raid. So when 3 North Vietnamese torpedo boats speed toward you, they're not starting a fight, they're finishing one. They fire torpedoes. You return fire with 5-inch guns. F-8 Crusader jets from the USS Ticonderoga scream in. The engagement lasts 20 minutes. 1 North Vietnamese boat is damaged. No American casualties. 1 bullet hole in the Maddox. That's it. This is a skirmish. A confrontation. Not an act of war. But back in Washington, Defense Secretary Robert McNamara spins it differently. He tells President Johnson, "Mr. President, we've been attacked on the high seas. Unprovoked aggression." Johnson's response? "Well now, that's interesting. Here's what you need to understand. Johnson wants a war, not because he's evil, because he's terrified. It's an election year. His opponent, Barry Goldwater, is calling him soft on communism. The Republicans are screaming, Democrats lost China. Democrats lost Cuba. Are they gonna lose Vietnam too?" Johnson's poll numbers are slipping. His Great Society programs, civil rights, Medicare, poverty programs, they're all at risk if he looks weak. Vietnam is a political problem, not a military one. And Johnson, master politician, knows how to solve political problems. You manufacture consent. You create a crisis. You give the people an enemy to fear and a hero to follow. So when that first attack happens, the real one on August 2nd, Johnson doesn't see a problem. He sees an opportunity. His advisors huddle. McNamara, National Security Advisor McGeorge Bundy, Secretary of State Dean Rusk. They craft a plan. We need another incident. Something bigger. Something undeniable. Something that will let us go to Congress for a blank check. The military term is escalation dominance. The common term is pretext for war. And the cynical term, false flag. August 4th, the Phantom Attack. August 4th, 1964. The Maddox is back in the Gulf. This time with the USS Turner Joy. Night falls. A storm rolls in. Visibility, near zero. Your radar operator, the one from the opening, remember him? Starts seeing contacts. Blips on the screen. "Torpedoes in the water," the sonar man shouts. Except there aren't any torpedoes. There aren't any boats. Captain John Herrick, commander of the Maddox, knows this. He sends a frantic cable to Pacific Command at 1:27 a.m. Review of action makes many reported contacts and torpedoes fired appear doubtful. Freak weather effects on radar and overeager sonarmen may have accounted for many reports. No actual visual sightings by Maddox. Suggest complete evaluation before any further action taken. Translation: We're not under attack. We fucked up. Please don't start a war based on our mistake. This cable reaches the Pentagon at 3:40 a.m. Washington time. McNamara reads it, and then he ignores it. He doesn't tell Johnson. He doesn't tell Congress. He doesn't halt the retaliation strikes already being prepared. Instead, he calls Herrick and pressures him. "Are you sure there was no attack?" Herrick, a career officer who doesn't want to look like a fool, hedges. "Well, maybe there was something." That's enough for McNamara. He hangs up and tells Johnson, "Mr. President, the second attack is confirmed." It's not. But the lie is more useful than the truth. Here's the smoking gun. Declassified White House tapes from 2001 reveal a phone call between Johnson and McNamara on August 4th. Before Johnson addresses the nation, McNamara admits, "There's some doubt about exactly what happened out there." Johnson replies, "Hell, those damn stupid sailors were just shooting at flying fish." Flying fish. Johnson knew the attack was bullshit. He knew his own sailors were firing at shadows, at waves, at weather. And yet 3 hours later, he goes on national television and tells 180 million Americans, renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas in the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply. He lies, deliberately, on camera, to the entire nation. Why? Because admitting the truth would make him look weak. Admitting his sailors panicked would make the Navy look incompetent. And most importantly, admitting there was no attack would kill his chance at war. And Johnson wanted that war. He wanted Congress to give him unlimited power to take all necessary measures in Vietnam. He wanted a blank check, and he got one. August 7, 1964, 3 days after the Phantom attack, Congress votes on the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. The resolution states, Congress approves and supports the determination of the President, as Commander-in-Chief, to take all necessary measures to repel any armed attack against the forces of the United States and to prevent further aggression. Translation: the President can do whatever the hell he wants in Vietnam. No declaration of war needed, no congressional oversight, just a blank check to bomb, invade and escalate. The vote: House of Representatives, 416 to Bloin, unanimous. Senate, 88-2. Only 2 senators vote no. Wayne Morse of Oregon and Ernest Gruening of Alaska. Morse gives a speech on the Senate floor. "I believe that history will record that we have made a great mistake. We are in effect giving the president war-making powers in the absence of a declaration of war." He's right, but nobody listens. Because Congress, like the American public, believes Johnson's lie. They believe McNamara's testimony that the attack was unprovoked, that American ships were in international waters, that this was naked aggression by North Vietnam. Every single claim is false or misleading. But McNamara is a smooth liar. He shows senators classified intelligence reports he knows are flawed, misinterpreted, or outright fabricated. He speaks with authority, with certainty, and Congress, terrified of looking soft on communism, gives Johnson exactly what he wants. March 8, 1965. 7 months after the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, 3,500 U.S. Marines land at Da Nang, South Vietnam, the first official combat troops. By December 1965, 4,000 American soldiers in Vietnam. By 1968, 536,000. The war Johnson said he wouldn't fight becomes the war that defines his presidency. And the costs: 8,220 American service members killed, 304,000 wounded, 1,600 missing. And in Vietnam, estimates vary, but roughly 1 million North Vietnamese soldiers dead, 250,000 South Vietnamese soldiers dead, 2 million Vietnamese civilians dead, whole villages napalmed, entire regions defoliated with Agent Orange, children burned, families destroyed, a generation traumatized. All of it, every single death, every single atrocity, every single bombed school and orphanage, traced back to a lie, to a radar blip, to phantom torpedoes, to a president who chose war over truth. 1968. Daniel Ellsberg, a military analyst at Rand Corporation, has access to a classified study, the Pentagon Papers. 7,000 pages of top-secret documents detailing U.S. involvement in Vietnam from 1945 to 1967. And buried in those pages? The truth about the Gulf of Tonkin. The Pentagon Papers reveal that Johnson and McNamara knew the August 4th attack never happened. They reveal that the Maddox was engaged in covert espionage operations, not innocent patrols. They reveal that the administration had been planning escalation for months and was just waiting for a pretext. Ellsberg is horrified. He spent years inside the machine, believing the official story. Now he knows he's been complicit in a lie. He makes copies of the Pentagon Papers. In 1971, he leaks them to the New York Times and the Washington Post. The Nixon administration tries to suppress publication. The case goes to the Supreme Court. The court rules 6-3 in favor of the press. The Pentagon Papers are published. America learns the truth. Their government lied them into a war. But by 1971, it's too late. The war has been raging for 7 years. 45,000 Americans are already dead. The damage is done. And Johnson, he's out of office, living in Texas, chain-smoking himself to death. He dies in 1973, 2 months before the war ends. He never apologizes. He never admits the lie. He takes it to his grave. The National Security Agency, the ultra-secret intelligence organization that intercepts and analyzes communications worldwide, declassifies an internal study. The author, NSA historian, Robert J. Hanyok. The title, Skunks, Bogies, Silent Hounds and the Flying Fish, The Gulf of Tonkin Mystery, 24 August 19. Hanyok's conclusion, after reviewing thousands of classified signals intelligence reports, it is not simply that there is a different story as to what happened, it is that no attack happened that night. He goes further. He finds evidence that NSA analysts deliberately altered intelligence reports, changing timestamps, selectively omitting contradictory evidence, exaggerating ambiguous intercepts to make it appear an attack had occurred. In other words, the NSA didn't just make a mistake, they committed fraud. They falsified intelligence to support the Johnson administration's push for war. And McNamara knew. He knew on August 4th. He knew when he testified to Congress. He knew when he sent 500,000 American soldiers to die in the jungles of Vietnam. Hanyok writes, the overwhelming body of reports, if used, would have told the story that no attack occurred. But those reports were buried, hidden, classified for 41 years. Why? Because the truth would have destroyed McNamara's credibility. It would have invalidated the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. It would have delegitimized the entire war. So the NSA kept it secret for 4 decades, until 2005, when it no longer mattered. Because by then, every veteran was home, every body was buried, every lie already believed. 2003, Robert McNamara is 87 years old. He appears in the documentary The Fog of War directed by Errol Morris. Morris asks him directly about the Gulf of Tonkin. McNamara's response? It didn't happen. There was no second attack. 40 years later, after 58,000 Americans and 3 million Vietnamese are dead, after decades of protests, trauma, and national division, after his reputation as an architect of disaster is already cemented, now he admits it. Morris presses him. So you knew? McNamara squirms. We were wrong. We acted in good faith, but we were wrong. Good faith, that's his defense. As if good intentions erase mass death. As if oops is an acceptable response to genocide. But here's the thing. It wasn't good faith. The declassified tapes prove Johnson and McNamara knew the attack was fake in real time. This wasn't a tragic mistake. It was a deliberate lie. And McNamara's 2003 confession, tepid, half-hearted, devoid of remorse, is just another lie. A PR move. An attempt to rehabilitate his legacy before death. He dies in 2009, at age 93, in his sleep. No war crimes trial, no prosecution, no accountability. Just a comfortable death, surrounded by family, in a mansion in Washington. The men who died because of his lies? They got body bags and flag-draped coffins. So here's the uncomfortable question. If the Gulf of Tonkin was a lie, what else was a lie? Let's look at the pattern. 1964, Gulf of Tonkin. Fake attack used to justify Vietnam War. 2003, Iraq WMDs. Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. Except he didn't. The intelligence was cherry-picked, exaggerated, and in some cases fabricated. Colin Powell presents fake evidence to the UN. 4,491 American soldiers die in Iraq. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqis die. No WMDs are ever found. Powell later calls it a blot on his record. 2013, Syria chemical weapons. Assad used chemical weapons, we must intervene. Some attacks were real, others were disputed. Cui bono? Who benefits? Rebels trying to trigger US intervention. The fog of war makes it impossible to know. But the push for war is immediate, certain, and loud. 2020, COVID lab leak theory. Initially dismissed as conspiracy, now acknowledged as plausible by US intelligence. Were we lied to, or just mistaken? 2022, Nord Stream pipeline sabotage. Who blew it up? Russia? Ukraine? The US? We still don't know. But the immediate narrative was, Russia did it. Evidence? Classified. Trust us. The pattern is clear. Governments lie. They lie to start wars. They lie to justify wars. They lie to continue wars. And decades later, when the bodies are buried and the history books are written, they admit it, quietly, with no consequences, and expect us to believe the next lie. UI. So let's talk about now, 2025. You're reading headlines about threats, about enemies, about attacks, cyber attacks from China, Russian interference, Iranian drones, North Korean missiles. Maybe they're real. Probably some of them are. But how do you know? You're seeing the same thing that radar operators saw in 1964. Blips on a screen. Reports from unnamed intelligence sources. Classified evidence you're not allowed to see. Government officials swearing it's true. And you're supposed to trust them. After the Gulf of Tonkin. After Iraq WMDs. After every lie that's been declassified, exposed, admitted. You're supposed to believe that this time, they're telling the truth. Maybe they are. But here's what the Gulf of Tonkin teaches us. The lie doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to fool everyone. It just has to fool enough people, for long enough, to start the war. Because once the war starts, the truth doesn't matter anymore. The bombs are already falling. The soldiers are already deployed. The dead are already dead. And by the time the truth comes out, if it ever does, it's too late. The war is history. And history, as they say, is written by the victors. Let's break down how it works. Because the Gulf of Tonkin wasn't a one-off. It's a template, a playbook. And it's been used over and over. Step 1. Create or exaggerate a threat. Real attack, August to all haste. Fake attack, August 4. Justification for war. Step 2. Control the narrative immediately. Johnson addresses the nation within hours. No time for skepticism. No time for questions. The media repeats the official story uncritically. Step 3. Rapid and patriotism. Support our troops. Defend freedom. Communist aggression. Anyone who questions the narrative is soft, unpatriotic, a coward. Step 4. Classify the evidence. We have intelligence, but we can't share it. National security. Trust us. No evidence, no accountability. Step 5. Marginalized dissenters. The 2 senators who voted against the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, mocked, ignored, forgotten. The media focuses on the 98% who supported war, not the 2% who questioned it. Step 6. Commit fully. Once the war starts, it's politically impossible to stop. We can't abandon our troops. Cutting and running would dishonor the fallen. The sunk cost fallacy becomes policy. Step 7. Admit the truth decades later. When no one cares anymore. When the perpetrators are dead or retired. When the historical record can be corrected without consequences. This is the pattern, and it works, every single time. So here's the thing you need to understand. Your consent isn't asked, it's manufactured. You didn't vote for the Vietnam War. You didn't vote for Iraq. You didn't vote for Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Yemen. You voted for politicians who promised peace, prosperity, security, and then they found a reason, or fabricated one, to go to war anyway. And you went along with it. Not because you're stupid, but because the machinery of consent is sophisticated. It's everywhere. News networks repeating official statements without investigation. Think tanks funded by defense contractors. Politicians who get campaign donations from weapons manufacturers. Intelligence agencies that classify everything and release nothing. A media ecosystem that rewards sensationalism over skepticism. And you, the citizen, the taxpayer, the parent of a potential soldier, you're told to trust the experts. Trust the generals. Trust the president. Trust the intelligence. And when you don't, when you ask questions, you're a conspiracy theorist, a useful idiot, unpatriotic, anti-American. So you stay silent, you go along. You put a flag on your car and a yellow ribbon on your door, and your consent is manufactured.
August 4th, 1961 years ago. But the ghosts of the Gulf of Tonkin are still here. Every time a politician says we must act now, or it'll be too late. Every time a general says trust me, the intelligence is clear. Every time an intelligence agency says we can't show you the evidence, but believe us. Those are the same ghosts, the same radar blips, the same phantom torpedoes. And you're the radar operator, staring at the screen, seeing shadows, being told they're enemies. And you have to decide, do you trust the screen or do you trust your gut? So when you close this screen and you go back to your life and you see the next headline about a threat, an attack, an enemy, ask yourself, is this real or is this the Gulf of Tonkin? Because somewhere, right now, there's a room full of people making that decision for you. And they're not asking if it's true, they're asking if it's useful. And if the answer is yes, they'll tell you it's true. They'll show you the blips on the radar. They'll play you the audio of panicked voices. They'll give you the expert testimony, the satellite images, the classified briefing. And you'll believe them, because you want to believe them. Because the alternative, that your government lies, that your leaders deceive, that your consent is manufactured, is too terrible to accept. But here's the thing, the radar operator on the Maddox, he believed it too. He saw the blips, he heard the voices, he trusted the system, and he helped start a war that killed millions. So ask the question, every single time, is this real? Or is this the Gulf of Tonkin? August 4th, 1964. A radar operator sees shadows. A president tells a lie. Congress grants unlimited power. And 58,000 Americans die for nothing. For ghosts. For phantom torpedoes in a dark sea. The Gulf of Tonkin incident wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. A deliberate decision to prioritize power over truth. Politics over lives. War over peace. And the people who made that choice, they're dead. Or retired. Or living comfortably on pensions funded by your taxes. No trials, no punishment, no accountability. Just history books that say mistakes were made, but you're still here, still paying for their wars, still sending your children to fight their enemies, still trusting their blips on the radar. So the next time they tell you there's a threat, an attack, a reason for war, Remember the ghosts of the Gulf of Tonkin and ask yourself, who's the real enemy?